audit, hindi naman nila nasabi na na-cancel na yung titulo at nalipat na sa iba.
Tries to take the first set 6-3.
Almost every day when I wake up, I open my laptop and my browser has opens automatically on all my social networking sites. So I read all the blog posts that I'm subscribed in, RSS feeds, then move on to my micro blogging sites like Blurt and Twitter. So before I get to Inquirer or any major news site like GMA, most likely I've read the important news on Twitter or Blurt.
Because people feel more empowered when they get to distribute content on their own. So example, on Facebook, I read something on Inquirer that's really mind-boggling or interesting. So I feel empowered that I get to share this information, and then people would instantly reply to my post.
Well, social media is a double-edged sword. There are many advantages for a journalist. A journalist suddenly has many more sources of information aside from mainstream media, aside from the usual websites and blogs we go to. There's so many more sources now. I mean, I get a lot of my information now from just the articles and videos and other things that my friends post on their Facebook pages.
Yes.
It's also a way for distribution. So it's a two-way street as far as a journalist is concerned. It multiplies the amount of information that a journalist can tap simply because just by going through what their friends, what his friends are reading and posting. At the same time, it's also a means to get the word out. It's very easy now to share articles, to share thoughts through social media. Now, I say it's a double-edged sword because, of course, we know that many of our friends, many of the sources of information on social media are not journalists, are not people who have applied strict editorial standards on the information that they produce and distribute.
Well, journalists must know how to write and think, and they must love to read and be curious and interview. So those are fundamentals that haven't changed. What has changed, I think, are some of the mechanical skills that you need to know. Now you know. Now you need to know how to operate a camera. Now you need to, now you need to know maybe database management. Now you need to know, particular softwares, editing software. But the bedrock of all of this is the ability to think, the ability to figure out what the most important aspect of a story is. The ability to tell a good yarn. These have not changed. The means for doing so and the means for producing the story may be changing, but I think the fundamentals are still the same.
So really, it just becomes a matter of who's better at who's better at telling a story, who's better at reporting, who's better at checking his facts, who's better at not making mistakes sometimes, you know, who's better at holding back and saying, wait a minute, this isn't quite ready for posting just yet. Let me just wait a minute, or this is ready right now, and you know, and putting it out. So again, ethics and skills are sort of what sets you apart.
I think what you're going to see is that you will have an information overload and there will be a reaction. People will start saying like, hey, you know, I can get 10 zillion Facebook updates, but what does it mean? You know, I have, you know, I'm following 10,000 people on Twitter, but is there anything on? You know, ultimately, people will gravitate to someone who has a skill set to make sense of it all, because clearly what's becoming in an age where information itself is a commodity and it's just flowing like what they call the river of news, the person who can extract out of that river and construct a coherent picture and say, this is what this means, this is what that means, and put A, B, and C together in such a way that you can act on that information, those people are going to become very, very valuable. The question is, do these people exist right now in the mainstream industry, or are they outside the mainstream industry?